Today, I have a wonderful guest, Terry Wildemann, and we're going to be talking about harmonizing the spiritual, personal, and practical aspects of business. Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased you've taken the time to be here today. I'm Virginia Parsons, your host, and it really is my passion to provide you, the viewer, with a goldmine of inspirational tips, strategies, and advice to help you grow your business from what I call inspirational businesswomen in the know. And we do have such a guest here today. As I already told you, Terry Wildemann will be with us in just a moment. But I want to thank you first for being here, because I know your time is valuable. And I think you're going to find what Terry shares with us to be hugely valuable and really help you transform your business in ways you may have never thought of. So before we get started, I'd like to let you know that today's show is sponsored by hangout-marketing.com, where you can receive a complimentary live stream marketing assessment. Now, why might you want to take that assessment? Well, I'll tell you what. This is going to help you understand how you can use a live stream, video, and interviews to brand, grow, and market your business in bigger ways. So it'll only take you a couple minutes, and you might even qualify for a complimentary Shine strategy session with me. So go ahead and take advantage of that by texting pound success to 775-800-4179. And if you're out of the country, you can just go to hangout-marketing.com and you'll be able to take that assessment. And I'd love to hear from you and look forward to sharing with you some of the ideas that I have for helping you step out of your shadow and shine online. Now, before we get started, what I'd really like to do is play the preview trailer that I made for Terry's interview. And why are we doing this now? Because we count on you, the viewers, to help spread the word. So while you're watching this preview trailer, please go ahead and let some other people know about this great interview who might benefit from it. And then we'll get that interview started in just a moment. All right, I think you can see that we are in for a real treat with Terry today. So let me go ahead and start the introduction. Are you ready to create a thriving business in harmony with your spiritual, personal, and practical aspects of business? My special guest, Terry Wildemann. She's known as the intuitive truth detective, and she's known for expertly unwrapping complex business challenges so you can build a successful and satisfying business. Now, today, Terry's going to reveal how everything is energy. We're going to talk about the power of intuition, which she uses all the time, and also the law of attraction in action. Now, Terry is a seasoned business leadership expert with over 35 years experience. And under her esteemed Smile Initiative Network, Terry orchestrates 3 unique brands: Intuitive Leadership, SHIFTology, and Sacred Healing Events. Now, these entities harmoniously combine the spiritual, the personal, and the practical aspects of business. And that's what today's show is all about. So Terry, come on in and say hi to our audience, won't you?
Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to be here with you, Virginia. It's been a couple times that we've been together, and every show is extraordinary.
I love it. And I just love hearing from you because you are extraordinary. You're a very special lady with, as I already explained, 35 years of experience. So, my gosh, so much has unfolded and evolved for you over the years. I know that. And that's sort of why you've got all these, aspects of your business and why we're going to really address these today. And I think a fun, engaging way. And so let's start with Terry, a little bit about your background and maybe what I would call a moment, a really key defining moment in your life that really led you on the path to be what you're doing today.
Well, it's actually two moments.
Okay, we'll take two.
The first one was right after my daughter was born. And by the way, I was told I could never have children. And four doctors told me I could never have kids. And 3 weeks after I got married, it was like, honey, I feel different. And 9 months and 2 days later, my first daughter was born.
Oh my gosh.
So
Fabulous.
after she was born, I was like, I want to do something fun. Before that, a lot of the jobs I was doing, I owned a manufacturing company. I was, the jobs that I had just were not heart-centered or fulfilling. And I became an image consultant. I got certified then, and I was having a lot of fun. And suddenly people were asking me to teach leadership and team building and customer service, all the stuff that I was really good at. And that was actually the beginning of the practical side of my current business. Now, the spiritual side of my business started when I met my husband, we're a U.S. Navy family, and they were going around South America. And we were in Valparaiso, Chile. So I met him there. I never heard
Ah,
of Valparaiso before. Never heard of Valparaiso. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you there. I'll drop my 2-year-old off. My 7-year-old was with my sister, and the 2-year-old was with my mom and dad. And we're walking through the city. And I had this feeling of, I've been there before. I knew where to go. I knew it was the wildest, energetic experience that I had had up until that point. And when I got home to Miami, where my parents live, to spend time with them and pick up my daughter, I mentioned it to the neighbor next door, who said, wait 1 minute, and ran next door. And he came back with this book in his hand called Many Lives, Many Masters.
oh, yes. I love
Right.
that book.
Nice.
Yes.
And I was up all night reading that book. And in that moment, that night, everything that I always knew to be true was validated. And that was the beginning of my holistic journey, my true holistic journey. Before that, I was interacting a lot with angels, but it was only angels. This was a whole new experience. And then we moved to Newport, Rhode Island, where I am now. We've been here 25 years. And a week after we moved in, there was a course on Many Lives, Many Masters. And I took the course. There were 5 of us. 5 is the number of change. And the 5 of us studied past life for 5 years. I'm sorry, for 2 years. It was wild.
Mm, I
And
love
during
that. So,
yeah, it was,
so, so that you found out that you had a sort of a deja vu experience when you were in South America.
it actually was,
Is that what it's called? Deja vu. Yeah.
but it wasn't really a deja vu.
Uh-huh.
It was a deja vu is almost like a dream. This was a very different experience from deja vus that I have personally experienced. It was a knowing. It
Mm.
was a, honey, let's go this way. Over here is this, and over here is that. It was this knowing that was very surprising to us both. I think at that time, that was when my husband was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so from those two major experiences, what you're saying is that that's really how your life sort of unfolded to where you are today.
It really
And
did.
we're going to talk just for briefly into your three topics, especially starting with how everything is energy. But for a second, I want to pause on the SMILE initiative, because I love the name, number one. I love the feelings that smiling, always talk about energetically, does for you, physically, emotionally, on all levels. So tell me a little bit about your SMILE initiative before we get started on the rest.
Well, the Smile Initiative Hub is the umbrella organization, as you mentioned, for intuitive leadership, shiftology, and sacred healing events. About 3 months ago, I was in meditation and I asked Spirit to give me the name of what my umbrella organization was going to be, because it was starting to get too unwieldy. I've been on a sabbatical for a year and a half, and I was just coming back to surface, and I kept hearing, you already have the domain. You already have the domain. You already know what the name of the umbrella organization is. And so I have 92 domain names, So I'm muscle testing all the domain names. I'm like, okay. And all of a sudden it stopped on the Smile Initiative. And my jaw just dropped because I bought that domain in 2006 with the intent of using it for a nonprofit. It never happened. And what I realized is it was waiting for right now. And SMILE stands for spirit, mindset, intuition, leadership, and empowerment. And it's all about bringing together what entrepreneurial leaders do well with in creating the success that they aspire to. Notice I didn't use the word need, because need is a sign of lack.
Yeah.
They need this. It's up to them if they really want to incorporate this information in their world. So our Facebook group changed to the Smile Initiative Hub, and it's just the umbrella for those three brands. And intuitive leadership is about executive coaching, leadership coaching, but it's also about healing. I do a lot of healing work there, healing in mind, body, and spirit to help you feel better in all three of those areas. Because as a leader, if you're sick, it's challenging to be able to lead the way that your people would love for you to be able to lead. And then the shiftology process, we just got our registration for it. It's so exciting. So shiftology is registered, Shiftology Live Podcast, and the Shiftology Accountability Matrix. That is the process that powers intuitive leadership. And then sacred healing events are the events that follow the webinars. And we're going to be doing expos, spiritual expos eventually. And
Oh, very exciting. All right, you guys. So see, there's goodies already that are available to you. So listen, if you're interested in getting onto Terry's Smile Initiative Facebook group, just type it in the chat. Yes, Smile Initiative. Type it in the chat and we'll make sure that you get an invitation to it. Sounds like it would be really valuable to so many of our viewers. All right, so let's get into the meat of the interview, Terry. Energy. Energy is something that I pay attention to all the time and monitor and kind of guide myself to what I would say is keep my elevation, my vibration, if you want to call it that, elevated, despite what we know is just so much really negative, suppressing energy in the world today. So I'm really excited to have you go into this in a little more detail. Everything is energy. And how do you want people to understand this so that they can apply it in their own lives?
We are walking, talking energy. And the best way to describe it is when I was studying to be a Reiki master between 2015, I became a master in 2018. I was in Miami. You're going to find I do a lot down there. And my uncle is a radiologist. He actually won his third prize in the world for a study of breast cancer many, many years ago. And, here's a short Cuban man who I'm sharing that I'm going to be a Reiki master. And I'm thinking this practical guy is going to think I'm absolutely out of my mind. And when I was sharing with him what I was doing, his entire face lit up. And he just looked at me. Now, remember, he's a radiology, so he works with energy of the body. He uses x-rays as energy to find out what is going within. And he started running around the house like a lunatic, touching and banging on everything, banging on the countertops, banging on the walls, banging on the baby grand piano, banging on everything, ran around the house saying, Ana Teresa, my name in Spanish is Ana Teresa. Ana Teresa, esto es energía, this is energy, this is energy, this is energy, this is energy, todo es energía. And that image, that's when I really understood that if my very practical, tactical, and logical radiologist, godfather, uncle, great uncle understood it, wow, I was onto something. You know, and because he studied energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with energy is, our phones are energy, our computers are energy. Look at us going back and forth here. You're in another state completely across the country from me. I'm in Rhode Island, I don't even know where you are now.
I'm in California.
California. This whole thing is energy. So our internal energy, the heart itself, when you take a deep breath and you go from the brain into the heart and you breathe deeply into this part of the body, the energy shifts because you are connecting the energy of this amazing brain with the energy of this amazing brain in the heart. And you can measure the energy field of the heart 6 to 10 feet away from the body in a 360-degree circumference.
Woo!
That's huge. So that's why teachers who are tuned in, tapped in, and turned on, to use Abraham Hicks' words, okay, you often wonder, how is it that those teachers can manage classrooms of children so well, and other teachers can't? And it's because they get it. When they shift from here into their heart, they're in a very heart-centered space, and that energy is just influencing all of the students, all of the whether they're adults or whether they're kids, because we're all students at one point or another as a teacher. When they do that, that's why the kids respond well to them. That's why the students know what to do and how to do it. They feel safe. They're in trust because it's a very loving energy. It's a joyful energy. It's a elevated vibrational energy. And that's why those specific teachers, professors, and just day-to-day moms and dads who do this work are so engaged and create a very powerful energy in the home.
That's really powerful. It's good to pause there for a moment, because I don't think that people think that much. We need to be reminded of these things. We need to hear them in multiple ways. And the idea that your energy so much impacts other people, which is why it's important to monitor it. It's why it's important to really tune in to where your energy is. And if it needs to be shifted, like your SHIFTology idea, if it needs to be shifted, you can consciously do that. And so people who are feeling like, I'm not attracting the people, and I'm thinking of this from a business standpoint right now, okay? So people are not attracting just the ideal clients or customers for themselves. They may need a shift in their own energy in order to draw those people to you. Because as you say, that heart-centered, and I always talk about it, heart-centered entrepreneurs, which I feel that I'm one, and that's, the audience that I reach. Heart-centered entrepreneurs, I think, really do kind of sort of exude that type of feeling, and people then feel connected, and they trust, and they feel magnetically drawn to. So I think this is something for all of us to contemplate. Are we managing our energy? Are we paying attention to it? And how are we expressing it?
And the words are very powerful. For example, recently I was at an event with a lot of people, and it was so much fun to see how the very positive folks, their language was very positive. They were very, very engaged. And yet there were others. I can't do this. I won't do that. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not going to do that. Yet the very things that they were focusing on and listening to their conversations was what they wanted. And what they weren't realizing is that their phraseology and the words that they were using were actually pushing away the very things that they wanted. And our words have an incredible amount of energy. They have tremendous power. And that's all part of the law of attraction. So law of attraction is energy. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but law of attraction is energy and it works 24/7. So your words, thoughts, feelings, and emotions is something to take a really good look at because you are a very, very powerful creator. You are an incredible creator, and your thoughts, feelings, and emotions help to create what is in your world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love just to be reminded of these principles because I've known them for years and followed Esther Hicks and Abraham for a number of years. And that's really what they're talking about as far as attraction is concerned as well. So we'll leave that. We're going to pause there for a moment because you are a natural intuitive. And the power of intuition is something I know we all have access to, but many do not, know or trust their intuition. So let's talk a little bit more about intuition, how powerful it truly is, how one can enhance their own intuition, and how one can trust that their intuition is really guiding them in the right ways.
That is such a powerful, there's a lot of parts to that question.
Yeah, there were. I know. I'm sorry, but I intuitively downloaded it for you.
That's okay. Here's the thing with intuition. Often very, very practical folks, actually, a lot of them do listen to their intuition. Some of them are fearful of it. I, as intuitive as I was as a kid and in my early adulthood, it was too scary to say it out loud. And even now, and I'm going to publicly say this, I am a medium and a channel. And I get uncomfortable saying it because, and I'm going to be very vulnerable here, there's a fear of not being taken seriously. And that fear of not being taken seriously is often due to the environment that you live in, especially if you live in a very practical household where intuition isn't acknowledged. Now, intuitive insights come to us through images. We call that the clairs. It's the four clairs. For some reason, it just went out of my head. When we hear things, it's clairvoyance. I'm sorry.
Clairvoyance, yeah.
Clairvoyance. When we hear things, it's clairaudience. When we feel things, it's clairsentient.
Oh, yes, I've heard those terms.
Yeah, and then when we know things, it's claircognizance. And all of us have those four clairs. It's just to what degree. When I finally started to trust myself, and I hear words, I hear them in my left ear. And when I started hearing the words, it was shortly after I became an image consultant. I started hearing words all the time. And it was through my left ear. And I realized it was Archangel Michael talking to me. And it actually saved my life because I'll share this story about how when you hear the words, listen to them. We came out of a restaurant. I buckled in my child in the car, and I got into the driver's seat. Didn't I put my seatbelt on? So Brianna was 10 months old, so she's now 37. Right? And I didn't listen to the message to buckle up. Then the message came a second time. Put your seatbelt on now. And I still ignored the message. And I heard the words loud and clear. And then it came a third time. Put your seatbelt on now. And it was loud. It filled the whole car. And I put the seatbelt on. And I'm like, to mess with whatever this is. I'm not going to mess with it. And I put my seatbelt. And I was at a big intersection, a 6-lane intersection, and the light turned green. And as I went through the intersection, a car coming towards me hit me. My head hit the steering wheel, and I looked up. I was literally under the light. It was still green, and I had been hit by a drunk driver that totaled my car. A 19-year-old drunk driver with a car that was 17 days old.
Oh,
And in those days, the cars didn't have airbags. So I would have gone right through the windshield if I had not. I wouldn't be here talking to you
yeah.
if I had not listened to that voice. So I share that story because when you hear the words, acknowledge them, don't fear them. When you feel the intuition, when you feel that you shouldn't go somewhere or do something, listen to that feeling. When you keep seeing images, listen to the images, acknowledge them, and stop running away from your intuition. And it took me a while, I'm not going to kid you, especially when I became a Reiki master, because, oh, good Lord, when I became a Reiki master, the first attunement, whoa, my spiritual gifts just exploded.
Mm.
And it got a little like, whoop, I know this is practical woo, but it got a little too woo-woo, even for me at the time, because it was so big. It was so very, very big. And I now have harnessed all of it, and I now work with it constantly. And my guides share very powerful information with me. And yes, I do speak with the other side. They pop in when they are supposed to. It's not one of these things where somebody comes in and says, I want you to talk to my mother. Well, it doesn't work that way for me anyway. If I'm coaching someone and suddenly I see somebody, which I will in my mind's eye, and I'll describe them, and it's like, oh, good Lord, that is so-and-so who, yeah, so that has happened. It's fun when it happens. There's a lot of in interchange, because then I'm used as the bridge,
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's fun when it does, and it happens when people are in trust. People are in a state of trust,
Yeah.
and I had to learn to trust it. I was raised Catholic, and my mother thought I was, you can only imagine what my Catholic Cuban mother thought. However, died at 98 on November 11th of 2021. By the time she passed, she was asking me to put my hands on her knees and asking, she was on my side at that point, but it
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
a long time.
Well,
Time.
yeah, when you do things that are not traditional and not supposedly accepted by, population in general, it's a hard path. And you really have to feel the sense of trust when you're experiencing these things, and say, I have to trust. And I'll share with you something that I had a very strong clairaudience situation, and it's why I'm now traveling in our RV and still working and doing these kind of broadcasts. That's because I went on a Zen walk, and I truly call my walks, when they're intentional that way, Zen walks. And I wanted nothing but stillness. I wanted to just be part of the experience in the walk. And I wasn't 10 minutes into it, and this very, very strong, firm voice told me to sell our home.
Yeah.
And there was no question about it. And I just was so frustrated, like, what? What do you mean sell my home? Please be quiet. I'm on a Zen walk. I'd had no intention of selling a home. By the time I was done with that walk, I had everything figured out and had to go home and talk to my husband about selling our home, which we ended up having sold within 5 weeks. And we're now on the road and loving it. And everything was supposed to be that way. But I had to pay attention to that, even though I resented it coming to me at the moment. But I said, I have to pay attention to this. This came out of nowhere. So I think we all do have these experiences. And boy, you had a great one, as far as you wouldn't have been here if you hadn't. But boy, it had to speak loud and clear to you. And
it did.
Sometimes I say we get messages in whispers.
Well,
and then if we don't pay attention, they get louder. And sometimes I say, sometimes it's almost like you have to have a brick thrown at your head to pay attention.
You know, it's I'm gonna say out of the mouth of babes, when we were living in Chesapeake, and you'll appreciate this, I believe. When we were living in Chesapeake, this is before I even went to Valparaiso and all that other good stuff. It was after the accident. The girls were in the back seat, and it was before the age of GPS, and everything was maps. And we were living in Chesapeake, Virginia. And if you know anything about that area, I still, when my daughter's stationed in Norfolk, I still go down there and I have no idea where I'm going. Even with the GPS, it's like, oh my God, everything looks the same. And I got very frustrated. I was very stressed out. My husband was deployed. I had the babies. They were well, they were at that time 6 and 2, something like that. And I really didn't know where I was going, and I was starting to get very choked up and emotional. And my daughter Brianna said, "Mom, let the angels talk to you. Pull over." And I pulled over. I'm allowing my daughter to tell me what to do.
Uh,
There's a reason she's a commander in the Navy.
yeah.
And I just got very quiet. I just got very, very quiet. And I got a very clear image of where to go, what to do. And I pulled out, and I was literally told where to take a left, where to take a right, where to go, and what to do. And it was all because my 7-year-old basically said, "Mom, let your angels talk to you."
Yeah. Well, and I do think that there's so much to be said when we'll just wrap this segment up on intuition, but there's so much to be said for going into a place of stillness.
Yeah.
And not necessarily with the intention of receiving a message, but when you give yourself opportunities on a regular basis to be in stillness, I think that's when these messages can come to us in different forms. In mine, it was audio. And I just, it came out of nowhere, that voice.
Yeah, that's your top Claire.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for sharing this and sharing your stories and being vulnerable, because that's what we all need to be in order to make deeper connections. I truly believe it is to be open and vulnerable. And so let's go into the law of attraction and how you put that into action in your own life.
Well, as I mentioned before, law of attraction, it's a 24/7 situation. Okay, 24/7. So if things aren't going back for you, I mean, there's so many people say to me, "Oh, I don't believe in law of attraction. It doesn't work for me." You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And because law of attraction is about what you think and how you feel, it's thoughts. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions create energy. That energy creates your inspired action, and you can either listen to it or not. And our thoughts are huge, huge. So thoughts are the language. Dr. Joe Dispenza says it beautifully. Our thoughts are the language of the brain, and our emotions are the language of the heart.
Yeah.
And that energy, that law of attraction energy, and there's a lot of other laws that are involved in there, but law of attraction is the one that most people tend to work with. When you are focused on something and you desire something, watch what you want, watch what you desire, because it may come to you. It may not come the way you expect it to come, but it may come to you today, tomorrow, whenever. But it's about having belief. It's about having trust. And the key thing is to get out of the way. And I like to share examples because that helps people understand.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved here, we rented a home for 3 years, and it was time then to sign a lease for another year if we were going to do that. And we had decided where we wanted to live and pretty much the area that we would like to have a home. Well, we kept driving and driving and driving around, checking everything. I knew everything that was for sale on this in this area, everything. Now, at that time, I was writing my first book, which was in 1998. I was running a business. My kids were young and much in lots of athletic sports, and we were adopting a baby, a youngest. And it got stressful looking for a house because I had everything written down. This was before I understood law of attraction. I wrote everything down. I had moved 12 times in 10 years. So I
Oh,
knew what
wow.
I wanted and I knew what I didn't want.
Yeah.
And I just wrote down on a piece of paper what I didn't want, which led me to what I did want. And if you follow Abraham Hicks, you will know that that is called the placemat exercise. I
Yeah.
didn't even know I was doing it. I wasn't even listening to it. I didn't know about Abraham then. And one day I just looked at my husband. I said, I can't take this anymore. I am so stressed out. I can't do this. I'm unhappy. I'm unhealthy. It wasn't working. And I let go of control and I said, let's just sign the lease for 1 more year. The next day, now notice, I gave up control. What did I say
Yeah.
about giving up control? Is putting the stage out there and giving up control. The very next day, there was an ad in the paper for a house that resembled what I wanted. And I knew in that moment that it was mine. I went to the MLS. I called up my agent. I said, I'm going to go see this house. Make a long story short, when we finally walked through, I had the list in my hand. Check, check, check,
Mm,
check. And
yeah.
let me share with you the detail on the checking. I wrote that I wanted a wooden swing in the backyard. Check. I wanted a hammock between two trees. Check. I wanted a big deck on the backyard. Deck. Check.
Hmm.
I wanted a finished basement. It was partially finished. Check. I wanted a bedroom that had a bathroom in for guests. Check. On and on and on and on and on. Living room and dining room on the same side. The kitchen with the step down with the Berber carpet. Check. Sliding door.
Wow.
Check.
Yeah.
Big window seat. Check. Every single thing that was on that list was in this house.
That's amazing.
And
You let go and let God.
I
Really.
did, but I had no idea how I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know about law of attraction. And I realize now, now having studied and I'm a certified law of attraction trainer and all that other good stuff, that because I put my focus and desires out there and then let go of control, let it go, let it go. That's when things manifest. That is the part that The Secret missed, by the way. That last step is what was missing in there.
To
And
let go.
let
Once
go.
you have really got a clear intention of what you desire. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want this or something better.
Yeah.
This or something better.
And I always use the phrase, wouldn't it be nice if?
That's
Because
another one.
it just it elevates your sense of possibility. And when you start to anticipate the sense of possibility is when again you know what it is, but you're letting go to the
Yeah,
possibility. So it's the same idea, I think. Wouldn't it be
absolutely.
nice if?
Wouldn't it be nice if, or wouldn't it be nice when?
Yeah. If and when. I think I'd
If
use both. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the power of words. That's the power of words. And another phrase that is incredibly powerful is the I am. And I like to spend a moment on that where law of attraction is concerned. If you can imagine a line going vertically and a line going horizontally, okay? The vertical is I, the horizontal is am. In the middle is a circle where they meet. To the left is the past, to the far right is the future, and in the middle is I am. When you are in that I am, you are in a space of being fully present in the moment.
Yeah.
When you're present in the moment, it's a wonderful place to be in because you're totally connected, you're aware, you're conscious. And unfortunately, we are living in a very unconscious society. The people are not aware of what is going on around them. People are not conscious of what is going on around them. So when they live in the past, which is to the left of the I am, when you live in the past, you're living a life of regret. When you live in the future, you tend to live a life of worry. But
Mhm.
when you're in the I am, you are right in the moment. You are experiencing all the beauty that life has to offer, this magnificent universe. And all of the chaos, all of the negative things that happen in the world, it's something to, it's hard to understand what is happening right now, but it's up to us to be in the present so that we, each and every one of us, can be who we are meant to be, and be able to listen to the quiet, silent moments within to allow the information to come to us. And it's one step at a time, one step forward, one step, because each step that you take, you're the I am, the I am, the I am. And as you move forward, it's like a car with a driving at night, with it can only illuminate a few feet ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you never see the destination. You just see what is right smack in front of you. And that's another example of the I am. So being consciously aware of what is around you from a place of what I call with shift, spirit, honor, integrity, freedom, and trust. That's shift. When you trust yourself and you are truly in the I am, all the information you need will come to you when you get out of the way.
Well, that's just a great, great point you're making. And I think that we lose track of it because I think our energy becomes very distorted when we're influenced by the news and things that we aren't personally experiencing, but it affects us energetically. And if you can bring yourself back to that central point of I am, living and being aware of the moment and the surroundings and everything that you are experiencing right now, that distortion sort of falls away. It can't hang on to you if you are living in the moment. So I really love that you've pointed that out to people, because I think we all tend to have the tendency to either, be in the past and regret, as you say, or in the future where there's worry, because you don't control that part, especially when it's not directly related to you. So these are really great tips. I hope you're all really benefiting from this. Want to hear from you. Make sure you put your gems in the comments section. Any questions that you have for Terry, please leave those and we'll make sure that she gets and answers your questions. But we've really wrapped up our time for today, and it is important that she's got something very special for you. I'm going to bring that up right now. This is Terry's gift, and if you want to get this gift, I know you can see it, but for those who are just listening to audio, you go to shinetips.com/Terry gift. And that's TERRY gift. Shinetips.com/Terry gift. Terry, go ahead and tell them all about this special opportunity. Pick this up.
I am giving you the Quick Shift Zone e-guide that incorporates everything we've been talking about today. It is a quick shift. You're entering the quick shift zone. It's 60 seconds to clarity. When you shift from the brain to the head, and I take you through all the steps, it's only 4 simple steps, but with practice, you do it in 60 seconds. You can get to a point where you do it instantaneously. This tool is the most powerful tool that I have in my SHIFTology toolkit. It literally has saved my life. I've been practicing it now since 2020. And when the whole thing came into my world, and the quick shift zone allows you to be fully present in the moment. And where it's really powerful is in decision making, because it allows you to see things from different perspectives so that you can make just the right decision to assist you in being your best self. And it reduces your stress levels, it reduces your cortisol levels, it increases your DHA levels, and allows you to be fully present in the moment in 60 seconds or less once you finish practicing it.
Oh, it sounds so good. The quick shift. And /Terry gift to get that quick shift. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to experience it myself. I want to learn how to do it almost instantaneously, but I'll be happy if I could do it in 60 seconds. Oh my God, this has been just so fun to talk to you, Terry. And I really want to encourage everyone to take advantage of that, and also to let Terry know if you want to be part of her Facebook group as well for the Smile Initiative. Just let us know in the chat and she'll make sure that you get access to that or an invitation to it. Terry, I could talk with you for hours, you know that, but we do have to wrap this one up. But I'd love to have you wrap it up in a beautiful, bright bow and give people your final thoughts. If they take nothing else from all that you've shared today, what is the most important thing you want them to take home with them?
Trust yourself. trust who you are, and listen to your intuitive heart. It will take you to where you want to be if you listen clearly and take inspired action. Listen to your heart.
I love it. Listen to your heart and trust. Thank you so much, Terry. It's been a delight having you here. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time. I know you got lots of good, juicy tidbits out of this. Go out and make it a great day and take action on some of the things that Terry has shared with you today. And we'll see you all on the next Inspirational Businesswoman show. Bye-bye now. Thanks so much for watching today. Do you know someone who would be a great guest for our show? Or would you like to be a guest on the Inspirational Businesswoman show? Let's shine the spotlight on your expertise. We'll share your story while offering tips, strategies, and advice to our viewers. Expert interviews are a great way to build your reputation as the go-to expert. Go to shinetips.com/IBWS to apply today. Women are waiting for your message, and I can't wait to interview you.